Hey guys, today I am joined with the meme master. Just trust me on that. His name is Spoon, and he's here to educate us on the meme coin world. By the time we get to the end of this interview, if you watch till the very end, you're going to have a much better understanding of how you should be positioning yourself with meme coins right now. Because while meme coins may not be serious, the investing behind them is. So Spoon, first and foremost, welcome to the channel.
Great. Thanks for having me, Ben. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, memes are always moving, whether they're moving, getting crushed with the volatility, or mooning in these bull runs like we saw Dogecoin and SHIB do and WIF do in the early part of this bull run. Right now, with investors, with everything down right now, what is your advice to people that are looking at meme coins?
Well, just like we have our quote unquote blue chips in altcoins and things like that, in the meme world, people have what they refer to as blue chips. And so those are the things that are obviously the least volatile and the safest things to bet in a market that's really volatile or when the macro is on a downtrend. And so, some of those tokens, like on Solana, you look towards tokens like Michi or Billy or Popcat, things that have been pretty stable and still have a lot of holders that they're adding. Or on ETH, there's Politify memes like MAGA, the hat, that still are doing okay. Or celebrity tokens like Iggy Azalea's token. So, there are things.
I have a question. Is Bowden down because of Joe Biden's performance? I haven't even looked at that. Because Bowden was really getting up there and being, a pretty big competitor or a pretty big, I'm not going to call it a blue chip, but it was kind of getting in that range. I mean, it hit the top 100 at some point. So I don't know. Very interesting. Is Bowden dead? I don't know.
That's a good question. Politify memes, I think, started off as people were just aping in because just the general narrative, they wanted to be anything, related to, Trump or Biden. But then sometimes these tokens evolve to where they are actually impacted by maybe the candidate's performance. So they can become riskier, right? Because now you start to ask questions like, does it go down when Biden doesn't do well? Or when he is doing well, does it go up? What actually is influencing these things? And I think one of the things that we're finding, though, is when you compare to looking at whether it's all the different other Politify memes, the Trump ones, it doesn't seem to matter what Trump does. They always seem to do okay, compared to more like Biden or other Newsom, memes or whatever it may be.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the performance tied to the person the meme is about, it makes total sense. The question is, what would happen if, I'm going to throw out a scenario here. Joe Biden's pretty old. He didn't look that great in the last performance. What were to happen if during the bull run, let's say Biden doesn't win, and during the next 4 years, he passes away? Would that make the value of the meme coin go through the roof? Or would that make it plummet because there's, he's gone now? And I think it would depend a lot on where we're at in the cycle too. But that, we haven't really seen that kind of situation play out, I don't think.
Yeah, I think whenever you get into a meme that's related to a living person or a living dog, for example, dog meme that the dog is still alive. I mean, those are, I think, risks you take on because you don't know exactly what could happen. People could, buy the rumor, sell the news. Like, okay, he's getting old, I'm going to buy it, and then he dies. It could skyrocket, but it could also mega dump. So, that's the risk you take on whenever it's a meme related to like a living human, I think. Versus something like a dog or a cat.
Right, exactly. And then, like you said, some of those dogs and cats are tied to real people's animals. I guess those people feel like they can't get rid of their dog anymore if there's a big meme coin about it. But I think there's a lot of interesting angles to look at here. And I know you had mentioned to me that there's kind of some big stuff going on in the Bitcoin side of things with runes because of the connections to Solana. And we got some alpha maybe on a coin that people might could start researching right now that might be big.
I do. I think while a lot of people are sort of overwhelmed with the oversaturation of the tokens being come out with pump funds, which are pumping out like 300,000 meme coins a month on Solana, even though there's a lot of liquidity there and there's still stuff doing okay on ETH and even Ton Network now and a few on Base like Brett, right? The thing is, people haven't been really looking at Bitcoin DeFi. And we saw when this happened last time with ordinals and people kind of counted them off as dead, a few months after they came out, boom, they skyrocketed and people that hung on to those became millionaires. And I know some of those folks, and some of those same folks are now involved in runes. And one of those runes I'm looking at right now is called the ticker is ELSA. And it's got a lot of stacked narratives. So when you're looking at memes, right, the more narratives it can align with, the better your hedge, right? So if you look at Elsa, for example, it was the first dog token to etch on the halving block. Okay, which very few were able to get in line and get on the halving block the day that happened. It was the first fair launch token rune on Bitcoin, and it's also named after Hal Finney's dog. Hal Finney received the first Bitcoin transaction. He mined the first Bitcoin. He's like considered the godfather of Bitcoin. And now I'm hearing from sources that it may be this week the first rune to bridge to Solana. And the reason that's is important because it's going to basically make something that's really has a lot of friction and is hard for people to understand how to buy and sell, like BRC20s and runes. It's going to make it accessible to them to buy via Solana on the DEX like Jupiter, but have something that they could bridge back over and be a Bitcoin asset. And I think that's a really big deal because we saw that happen with BRC20s when Pups token launched and bridged to Solana. It just absolutely exploded. So this is what I'm looking at. It's basically like free right now at like 3 or 4 million market cap. I think its all-time high was 60 mil. And so this is something that I think like if you get in on early before the bridge, there could be a lot of arbitrage opportunities.
Yeah, well, that sounds good to me. I think definitely Bitcoin DeFi is something I've been wanting to get into, and that's actually how we connected as I was reaching out to some people about it. And I think the question that a lot of people would have right now is, okay, they got the ticker. They know what it is. It's on Bitcoin. How the F do I buy it?
Right. Yeah, I actually did a thread, and what I may do is pin it to my Twitter account. But the TLDR is you're going to need a wallet called Xverse Wallet to be able to buy it. You can actually buy it on Magic Eden if you go to the Runes section, and you can buy it there. And then when it bridges, it's going to be bridged by a company called RuneMine, and they're going to release instructions on how to bridge it to Solana or bridge it back. So whether you buy it now on Bitcoin as a rune and then bridge it to Solana, maybe to arbitrage, or you end up waiting and want to see what happens and you buy it on Solana and want to bridge back, all that stuff will become readily available in terms of instructions on how to do that stuff.
Well, perfect. And that's one of the things, those friction points, that's where the opportunity is. That's why with crypto, when I first got into Bitcoin back in 2012, it was almost impossible to figure out how to buy it. You had to do BitInstant and Mt. Gox, and it was that friction that was a sign it was an early opportunity. And I think with Bitcoin DeFi, where a lot of people know how to do Solana DeFi and they know how to do Ethereum DeFi, they don't know how to do Bitcoin DeFi. That's where the opportunity is. And I think people should really, listen and understand that there are always opportunities to make money in crypto, no matter what the market is doing. There's always money free flowing around. And what a lot of the VCs do is a lot of VCs use meme coins to pump up their bags to put in the legitimate projects for different times, or, not legitimate, but projects with utility outside of memes and community. And I think that a lot of this money will flow that way. And there's a lesson that people can take from that, which is, we should be doing that too. We should be looking for this alpha and these opportunities to be able to pump up our bags to put in the coins that we really, really are obsessed with and we want. So I think we've been given, you've been given an opportunity today to be able to hear about one of those coins. So Spoon, definitely appreciate you joining us, and we'll make sure we'll put a link to that thread. If you send that to me, we'll put it down below in the video description. I think that the next time you and I talk, we're going to maybe be able to actually do some screen sharing and show people how to do this. But let me just end with this and ask you this question. Overall, right now, we're about somewhere around where we should be after the halving based on the previous halvings. Just what is your kind of expectation right now for, we're looking at a coin that can move, but just the overall meme coin environment and then the greater crypto market, when do you kind of see things starting to go upwards?
Yeah, I personally think that, if you want to play it a little risk off, a little safer, you have memes that could still do, in my opinion, 5 to 10x's through the cycle. And that's your whiff, that's your Ponke, that's your Brett token. And then a little more, as you get a little more risk on, you get down to the 400 or 500 million market caps like Popcat, or the 100 million market caps like Michi, and then your 50 million market caps like Billy token. So, there's sort of a flavor for everybody depending on your risk tolerance. I think right now is really a second chance for a lot of people that missed the really big run-ups between like January and the halving to get in on tokens that still have a lot of X's left in them.
Yeah, I think the institutions had to push it back down to retail prices because we all know the institutions at least led the first run-up.
Guys, look, OTC desks like Wintermute, they're no longer being private about what they're getting into. Wintermute, huge OTC desk, holds a huge percentage of BNB. These VCs, these guys are doing coin option deals with some of these tokens at the 50 million market cap level and taking that risk on their bet that they could help get it to $1 billion. And they're opening up back doors to get these tokens onto big exchanges and stuff. So if these big players are comfortable playing in this landscape now, then I think it's sending a signal to other people like, hey, if you thought these were just like meme coins in the past or on BNB, we called the shit coins, this is a different ballgame now. And VCs and bigger boys are starting to get in and get more risk on with some of these assets.
Well, that's a great point. I think that makes a lot of these blue chips, as you say, more predictable. Makes them a little more predictable, not perfectly predictable, of course, but you can see where the money is flowing, and when the big money is flowing into something, there's something there. So, well, Spoon, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody else, thank you so much. We're going to be discussing meme coins a lot more in the future with Spoon. So you guys just got a little taste of it today of the alpha. Check out Elta Coin. So I got to be blessed. Good way out.